So, hello and welcome along to another edition of Isolation Interviews. And for my YouTube channel, and for Hospital Radio Reading and all that great stuff, I'm super excited to be joined by an amazingly talented actor in the form of Matthew Backer. Matthew, welcome. How are you?
Hello, hello, hello. Greetings from down under, I guess.
I was going to say it's great to chat to yourself. And I mean, I kind of guess I wanted to start off by sort of asking a bit about how you got into acting. Where did the love of acting first come from?
From when I was a kid, I just loved movies. So Jurassic Park and Twister and Free Willy and then I think I realized if I became an actor, I could play a marine biologist or an archaeologist or run with dinosaurs. And then when I got into high school, my music teacher said I should audition for Oliver in grade nine, and I did. And I was Oliver. And I could distinctly remember walking out on stage going like, I think I love this. And it was sort of from there I did every school musical and school play. And I then became a journalist and gave that up and auditioned for NIDA and got into NIDA a little while ago.
I was going to say to go from acting into journalism, that's quite a difference, I suppose. So was that something that kind of happened by accident, or did you just have a kind of a change of love, if that makes sense?
I think when I left high school, I was like so small. And I didn't have a great time at high school. I got bullied quite badly. It was an all boys Catholic school. So I think my confidence wasn't there. And I loved the written word. I loved English and writing. And so I went into journalism and I studied it. I worked as one on a country newspaper. And then during that cadetship, I realized that I should just give acting a go. But then getting into NIDA, the drama school, I realized that it informed acting so much because journalism is all about people reading and the story behind the story and why humans do what they do. So by the time I reached acting, I was about 23. I realized journalism had really informed, and it still does inform so much of what I do. I'm constantly wondering why humans do what they do. And I'm still a big news buff, and that's important for an actor, I think, to stay, current with world events and culture. And yeah, so I think the two have um, helped each other. But most people do go, oh, journalist to an actor. But as I said to my parents, I must just want to torture myself because they're two really hard professions to get work in. So I'm thanking my lucky stars.
And then for yourself, how did play school come about? Because that's something that you're very well known for. So how did that come about for you?
Yeah, oh God, it is the best gig. I love it. I auditioned a few years out of NIDA when I left, but I think I was a bit younger, and then I did 4 or 5 years of back-to-back theatre in here in Sydney and around Australia, which was incredible. And then I auditioned again. I think they just kept me on their radar. And then the third audition, I must have just been ready because it's so, it's all of that stuff, doing heaps of things at the same time while connecting with a kid through a camera. It's a lot going on. So I think my years of theatre really helped. And the third time got in, I think that's 7 or 8 years ago now. So it's such a gift of a job. And my nephews and niece are growing up watching Uncle Matt on TV. So it's actually really, really special.
And I imagine as well, it's kind of a mixture of acting and presenting because you're connecting with the kids and kind of presenting something to them, but at the same time, you're also kind of putting on a show, doing a performance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, I'm Matt on Play School, and it's a heightened version of me. Some might say it's actually just like me. Um, but it's very much performative, and I love the character work on Play School. I consider Play School like my version of Saturday Night Live that I'll probably never get to do. It's almost sketch like, and the new Play School has sort of changed. It's quite fresh and fun, and we have specials and lots of character work. But when you start, they tell you to connect with the camera as if it's one kid watching. Don't think about, you're talking to a bunch of kids, how you talk down to kids. And that was the best bit of advice because that's the the gift of it. When you really nail talking to that one kid, you connect through the camera, and that has helped, yeah, with acting as well. It's just that connection with one person. Forget about the camera and just focus on that one person, and that has helped heaps.
I mean, someone else who's obviously come through that, which here in the UK, people might not know this, but Takaya Honda, who obviously played David on Neighbours, he was also on the show. So, I mean, did you get to work with him lots on that, and what was that like?
Yeah, he's still on it. So he and I, yeah, we're two of the current hosts. He hadn't been on it for years because he was doing Neighbours. And so we never crossed paths, but I certainly knew who he was. And then he came back, yeah, I guess like last year or something, or maybe the year before, and we had an episode together. And I was like, oh, great. After all these years, we get an ep together. And it's really fun when it's usually it's one guy and one girl, but it was quite fun to have the two of us. And I said, "Are you back for a bit?" And he was like, maybe back from Melbourne. And I was like, "Are you back for good?" And he was like, "Maybe." And because his storyline hadn't happened yet, and I straight away I went, "Oh, okay, something big's coming." And he just sort of nodded at me like this. So yeah, we've done. I think we've done an ep or two together, and he's so great. I love him, and I loved seeing him on Neighbours as well. So it's quite funny that yeah, second play school host has waltzed on into Erinsborough.
So, how did that come about for you? Because obviously your role is very heavily connected to his character. So how did that come about for you?
I just auditioned. I think, yeah, I auditioned and straight away I think from the character brief and the scenes were quite good. I knew there would be something in there that I could really sink my teeth into. I had no idea where the character was going or what it would be in that initial audition. And I think, I don't know, something connected with him for me. And yeah, then I got it. I don't even think I had a callback, which was great. It was just sort of like that audition got me it, and then um, it was really exciting because it's a very different character, I think, from what the series has seen or most shows like this have seen. And it was very, very exciting to step into. A little daunting, but yeah, I jumped at the chance. I've been doing this for God, 14, 15 years out of drama school. And I've never, gotten close to a Neighbours gig or actually even auditioned that much for Neighbours. So I don't know, something about the character must have sat well on me. I also think he's a bit of a complex character. So I think, not to toot my own horn, but I think you do need an actor that maybe is digging a little deeper than just, villain of the week. See, these are all the terms that I'm learning now that I'm reading the comments. Villain of the week or something. Yeah.
So, I mean, did you get any advice from Takaya? Did he know you were going to be doing Neighbours?
No, no, I kept it a bit of a secret from him. I didn't tell him because I knew my story would sort of intertwine with Aaron's, Matty Wilson's so much. So I think I think I was 2 weeks into filming and I sent him a selfie of Aaron and I in their house, and he just was like, "What?" He was like mind blown emoji, and I was like, "Look out, someone's here." He laughed, he loved it, and straight away we both were like, "Yeah, Aaron must have a thing for play school hosts." So,
I mean, as I say, it's a great character, and at the moment we're really in the thick of it. I mean, at the point that this interview goes out and is sort of broadcast, people are going to know what the secret is, and we know that obviously he's a
yeah,
bit of a stalker, let's say, or a bit impulsive, should we say, just kind of a little obsessive.
let's
Uh,
go impulsive.
yeah, let's go with that one. And obviously, I mean, first of all, working with Lucinda Cowden, I mean, I've interviewed her before. She's fantastic. So, what have you found working with her to be like?
Oh gosh, she is a hoot, and like the best possible use of that word. She's so positive and energetic and throws herself into the scenes, and you can't help but be swept up by Cyclone Lucinda, as I call it. Um, but most of my work was either with Lucinda or Matty, and so I got to know them really, really well. Two very different energies, which was great. Um, And it was in the script in the audition scene that it says Logan's a little bit kooky, which is in our first meeting with Lucinda. And I knew her character, and straight away I thought this is going to be fun to sort of riff off her isms, her kookiness, what we all know Mel for. And straight away, as soon as we met, we started playing, and it was so much fun. I just sort of fed off her kookiness and gave Logan a little bit more yeah, a little bit more positivity and brightness because we needed the two of them just to go bang and have this kind of fun friendship. So she was incredible. I loved working with her. I miss her a lot.
Now, obviously, one of the people we must talk about is the fantastic Matty Wilson, who, of course, plays Aaron. A lot of people really got to see how great an actor was, or he is even, during the David death scenes. And I think a lot of, I mean, I previously, when I spoke to Stephen Dennis, who plays Paul, he said just what an amazing actor he was and is during that period. And just seeing kind of him shine then. Did you get to see any of those scenes back?
Oh yeah, yeah. While we were filming, while I was filming, those episodes aired. So I think it was my first week, and I even watched them just like, what? Like, come on, how did he do that? There's always those frustrating actor moments when you're watching a movie or TV and go, oh, how did they do that? And it's beautiful. Yeah, his episodes around the death and the funeral were like jealousy inducing for me. And then I got to work opposite him, and you can tell he's been doing this character for a long time. He has such access to his own emotions, but also Aaron's, and he was really beautiful to act opposite, really open, and was very talkative and was so happy to chat things through with me because I was, coming into a world that was already created. So really took his time to talk about character and where we were going and what our journey was. And I just was, yeah, he's very, very easy to act falling in love with because I loved working with him so much.
I mean, I imagine as well, because you two did a lot of running. So that must have been, because I imagine you just do the starts and ends of runs. You don't do a full run when you're doing those scenes.
Yeah, no, no, no. I'm not going to compete up against Matty Wilson when it comes to running and looking like that. But yeah, we just would start and then end, and they'd spray a bit of sweat on. But that day we filmed coming up Ramsay Street was a scorcher. It was so hot. And so I think the sweat, fake sweat mixed with real sweat. But the early episodes are quite fun because we made a real concerted effort with the directors as well to just approach them as they're two guys, two gay guys as well that meet and they're just mates. There's a spark of like, oh, you're great, I'm great. Do you want to hang out? And then as we see the episodes go on and they sort of strangely fall for each other and they're both going like, oh God, this feels wrong but right, and that's sort of where the problems arise. But I mean, we didn't have to act being mates because from day dot we just were like two chums. It was really, really beautiful.
And also, I imagine because they're both coming from a sort of place of grief, they kind of get each other, I suppose is the best way of describing it.
Yeah, there's lines in the script where he talks about, it's nice to know, meet someone who is sort of going through what I'm going through. I think because he can hint, Logan's probably grieving someone, probably doesn't know it's David. And yeah, they do. I think that's where I found the scripts quite lovely was that two people doing grief in very different ways just somehow meet and the universe puts them together and for some reason they connect and it feels right. And whether it's the circumstances around it are wrong, two people can't help when they feel safe and comfortable and loved again. And yeah, I found it quite beautiful. Logan, you'll see coming up, Logan talks a lot about the universe pulling him in different directions and he can't help but just go, okay. And I feel like Aaron was someone that just landed in front of him and he sort of couldn't help but listen to the universe a bit. So Matty made that very easy.
I mean, do you think going forward you'll keep in contact with some of your co-stars from the
Oh,
show?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I chat to Matty and Lucinda especially every now and then. And yeah, I bumped into a few of the other Erinsborough locals, and nice enough to sort of you follow each other on Insta and have a chat. But Matty and Lucinda definitely, I think, will be two that I will always reach out when I'm in Melbourne because I just, yeah, loved working with them and I think they're fantastic.
And the other thing we have to talk about is obviously just kind of how far he's gone with, in a sense, he's sort of stalked Aaron and the whole David thing. And for you, when you're reading that storyline and sort of, going through it all, what was going through your mind when you're getting around kind of how
Mm.
far Logan would go to kind of see?
Yeah,
It's weird because I don't think he's done it in a malicious, I want to hurt Aaron way, or at least at the moment it's coming across that he's not that
yeah,
evil. But we don't know. That's the great thing about
yeah.
it.
Look, when I started, I didn't have the end of or where he was going. And so I was sort of flying blind too. I only had like a few scripts, which is kind of really exciting. You can sort of just go like, I'm just going to approach this character from bare bones, what I have on the page. And look, it was interesting to walk into the halls of that famous building and hear people go, "Oh, you're the new stalker." And I had to very actively go, "No, that's not what I am or what I'm playing," because you can't judge your character and you have to love your character. And I fell in love with him. I think I just approached him as someone that um, is quite lonely, has sort of drifted for many years because he doesn't have a home, he doesn't feel at place anywhere. Maybe, can't make connections as well as some people can, even though he's quite positive and he's always yearning to connect. And he connects with Mel. She brings him back to this town that's just so beautiful and welcoming. And for the first time, he feels at home. And he just makes some really bad decisions to sort of fit in or get to know people probably quicker than he should have. Um, that being said, he obviously has a past connection to David, which is a little questionable. And I don't know what to say because I don't want to ruin where it's going. But I never approached it as, the S word, the stalker, even though it definitely has hints of that for the audience. I definitely looked at it as someone that was hurting and grieving in his own way and stupidly wanted to try and connect to the life that he never led. And he goes about it the wrong way. I'm not condoning like his actions, but it's it's been fun to watch it back and go, wow, you really don't have control over editing or music choices. But that's the fun of the show because that heightens the mystery, and all I have to do is play a real person.
And I mean, one question I love asking people is if you, Matthew, if you were to meet Logan, do you think you'd be friends? Do you think you'd get on?
Yeah. How can I say no? No, I think I do. I hope I would. I think early on when we meet him, which is what I wanted to get across, that I wanted him to be quite charming and bubbly and positive and interesting and funny. So I think on first encounter, yeah, I would hope that we'd be mates. I hope that's what I'm kind of like too. Maybe when I got to know him a bit, I'd be like, mate, you're a bit questionable. But yeah, no, I like to think he's a not a good guy because questionable choices. He's an interesting human, put it that way.
And what advice would you give Logan if you could give him some advice?
Oh, I would. He needs to go through a big um, realization of letting go. I think he's hanging on to. I don't even think it's the David thing, whatever that turns out to be. Um, he, I think he's someone that doesn't let go of past hurts, past grief, past trauma, and he thinks he has, but he lives his life going like, I'm just going to be positive and get along with everyone without addressing the main thing, which we all do. And as we see in Erinsborough is sort of the awakening of that he hasn't dealt with a lot. And he panics in a way and makes some really bad decisions. So he needs to let go.
Now, people need to keep watching Neighbours, but I also just wanted to briefly touch upon something else you've been doing recently and working with another Australian icon in the form of Rebecca Gibney. So, what's
Yeah.
that been like?
Oh, great. Yeah, Prosper, we filmed that last year. I didn't have much to do with Rebecca. I think we had like one or two scenes, but gosh, she is incredible. She's one of the nicest people I've probably ever met. She came swanning up and saying a big hello and made me feel very welcome because my character sort of existed on the outer and dealt mostly with you and Leslie's character. And yeah, Richard Roxburgh, he's one of the greats. So to sit opposite him in a few scenes was a bit of a pinch me moment. Prosper was a very different kettle of fish. Prosper was a character who uh, knew what he was doing, liked what he was doing, was very, very good at his job, sort of a slippery political wheeler and dealer. So I really enjoyed that sort of still waters run deep. Logan, different again. I think he has a lot of surface stuff that he thinks he's winning people over, but underneath he's sort of just like a duck with legs underwater, panicking the whole time.
It must be amazing getting to do all these different types of roles. And I mean, for you, is there a favorite, or do you just love the fact that you get to do kind of, everything, Play School and Neighbours and all these different great projects?
Yeah, I've been really, really lucky. I think I like to think that I'm malleable and I enjoy a challenge of transforming myself. I don't know what that says about whether I like myself. Um, but I like to push characters at least far away from me and transform a bit. Funny enough, Logan, I actually really made a concerted effort just to be myself. I didn't want to, I don't think I wanted to try and create this character that was too removed from me. I actually wanted to become more myself on camera so it would come across as very, very genuine, which would fool the audience a little bit more. So I'm glad I did that because I can see a lot of my isms on the TV. But yeah, I love it. I just love really um, challenging, complex, silly, even characters. And I do gravitate towards darkness, I think, because I like to think I'm quite up in life. But yeah, doing a show like Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at Sydney Theatre Company here in Sydney, like that was a really dark, very uptight character, and I loved it. People would go, "Oh, that looks so tiring," and it was, but I love that sort of stuff. Yeah,
And what can
and
people,
I think I'm very lucky.
I was going to say, what can people look forward to from you? I mean, what have you been up to recently? What's kind of next on the horizons for you?
Yeah, I just wrote and produced and starred in my first short film, which we filmed last year, and it's sort of based on my high school life, getting bullied and years later growing up, and approaching your sense of self and accepting your queerness and not being afraid of that. And so I wrote this film, and we just won Sydney Film Festival,
Oh,
the best
congratulations.
live action short film, which is huge. It's like to know that your first screenplay that you've ever written is now eligible to be nominated for an Academy Award is pretty ridiculous. And so we're furiously trying to develop that into a series. So we're writing that, me and my writing producing partner, Drew Weston, who's fantastic. So you can follow us on Instagram at Die Bully Die is our short film. And then aside from that, Play School and Story Salad, and I'm about to start a play here in Sydney, which will be for a few months. And yeah, I'm always up to something.
Now, I just want to say it's been a pleasure talking to you. But before we go, have you got any messages for the patients who are currently stuck in hospital here in the UK? What would you like to say to them? Any sort of nice messages you'd like to give out?
Oh my gosh, of course. Keep trucking, keep resting up and making sure you're surrounded by the beautiful people that can help you get through everything. I'm so lucky. I have such a beautiful family and friend support network, and you forget that sometimes in hard times to lean on people. So yeah, lean on the right people and look after yourself. And sending love from not so sunny Sydney.
Must also mention people need to keep watching Neighbours because the Logan drama is just going to keep getting better and better. So here in the UK, it's obviously on Amazon Freevee from 7 a.m. Monday to Thursday. Matthew, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving up your time.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the mystery. I'll see you soon.